Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. You get a video today before I've even heading out to the gym. And I thought I'd do this video because I think it's very important indeed, and I'll tell you for why. Our friend Law, and when I say our friend, I mean full disclosure, I don't have any time for the guy at all. I don't like him as a CM. I don't think he's a decent person. He comes across as obnoxious. He comes across as if he doesn't care. He comes across as antagonistic to the community and seems to get some sort of perverse kick out of it as well, just for shits and giggles. And so I don't really have time for the person at all. But the reason why I wanted to bring this tweet up is he's had a habit in recent times of putting out a tweet and then deleting it, shall we say. He did it when it came to the recent bans, when people used the EXP exploit. He tweeted out something antagonistic about, well, you go naughty, you get banned. And I'm one of the people who believe it isn't quite as simple as that. You have to understand that people were willing to risk the ability to get banned for a period of time or to take some sort of penalty purely to level up characters, because leveling in WoW is so piss poor. It's so bad that people would like to run that risk in an effort to push some characters forward. And you'd also have to understand that the main reason why Blizzard did these bans wasn't because they were protecting the integrity of the game, or that they were protecting the integrity of the leveling up system. No, they were protecting their paid character boosts, and they were protecting their allied races' race changes. That's what they were protecting. Because that's ultimately what they want you to do. You just have to look at the figures to see how the digital side of WoW is the thing that is booming. And so the reason why I wanted to bring this this tweet up, because A, it might get deleted, and B, the context of this is so skewed, and he knows it. Law knows it. This tweet isn't like, oh, did I? No, this is purposely manipulative, and it's purposely loaded. It kind of sums up a lot of things right now. Now, I'll tell you straight from the get-go, the purpose of this tweet is to try and rally the Sycophant Brigade. It's to try and rally the WoW fans, and it's also trying to garner sympathy for people who don't necessarily deserve sympathy. So I just want to go in as to why I think these things. So first of all, he starts off saying, a random musing. It's not a random musing at all. But, you know, weirdos like this speak like this. I just have a random muse that popped into my cerebral cortex. No. It's not a random muse. Take it as you will. Take it how you will. Yeah, for exactly what it is. A lot of shit. It really sucks seeing outrage about layoffs at game studios and stuff and things coming from the same people and things and stuff who say things like, everyone who worked on the game should be fired and stuff and things. So this is really, really loaded, right? Now, the reason why I'm addressing this tweet is because I have said in recent times, very recent times, that I think Ian and the rest of this development crew should go. Should be fired. The decision makers in WoW should go, because I don't think they're steering the ship in the right direction, and I think WoW is an absolute shell of the game it is. Did I say everyone in the World of Warcraft team needs to be fired? No, absolutely not. So the context immediately is very skewed, because it's trying to bundle in other people who are not deserving of that. Regardless of the problems that I have with Battle for Azeroth, and there are numerous ones, there have been some things which I have stated very steadfast. Number one, the art department just creating unbelievable work. In actual fact, I tweeted out recently that the art department are carrying this expansion with the great work that they're doing. The worlds look great. The zones look fantastic. The characters always look wonderful. The mobs always look wonderful, etc., etc. I thought it was a wonderful story that Taryn Gregory told about Jaina and her mother. I thought that was just beautiful. I thought that was exceptionally well told. Even if I'm not getting into the whole Horde versus Alliance for 15 years in a row storyline of the main theme, I'm not getting into that. But I thought it was just a beautiful story told about a mother and a daughter. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. But content-wise, it's pathetic. I mean, it's absolutely pathetic. And every time we have a Q&A, which, surprise, surprise, has lore as part of it, and Ian has accosted us, we just seem to go round the circular arguments of, well, we're going to talk about, you know, a little bit of artifact power, we're going to talk about a little bit of Azerite gear, and they don't really tackle what I believe to be the main issues of the game, which the fact that the open world is absolute garbage. It's just complete and utter garbage. Things like professions are worthless. Island expeditions are worthless. Warfronts are worthless. The whole Azerite grind is it's just boring, pathetic. It's horrible. And it's now 2 expansions in a row. We have, again, things like the stupid command table, and it's just like it shouldn't even be in the game now. It's just so beyond pathetic and dubbed down, and it's just irrelevant. So there are loads of things, content-wise, that are just making the experience dull and disinteresting. And the only thing that WoW seems to legitimately concentrate on is the instance-based content. Now, if we take the last 3 expansions and look at those, the raiding in, from what I can gather from BFA, because I've done so little of it, because I have such little interest in this expansion, for the raiding, for the most part, I've heard is pretty good. For the most part, it's pretty good. But it's very rare that WoW actually cock up raiding. You know, that seems to be their bread and butter when it comes to actually making decent encounters. But I do believe that raiding is not accessible for a lot of people because of the lower level end of it. Because the lower level looking for raid and stuff, if you do LFR, it's not incentivizing you to become a raider, and because of the way that the gear system now works, it's not incentivizing you to actually work to achieve anything. Because you can just get Titan Forged and all this kind of crap from anything. Hell's Bells. When I did my first Warfront, I got a Titan Forged 395 pair of pants from my very first Warfront, which was actually a higher item level than you could actually get in what would have been the current raid's mythic level. So it's just a laugh. You know, the whole gear progression system is just a joke with all these Titan Forging and War Forging and Tertiary and blah, 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 blah. But to me, a game's got to be fun. And it's got to be interesting and engaging. And I did a video recently, of course, where I said, I don't think these people understand what the word fun means. And I absolutely hold that up. The outside world is such a dull affair in Battle for Azeroth. You have rares who aren't rare at all. They pop every, minute? And you can do them once a day or whatever it may be. Can't remember, it's just boring. You have rares which appear on the map, so you don't even have to seek them out. They have a very specific spawn point. You have treasure chests which are just full of garbage, and once again, on the map, so there's no exploration element. So the world itself has no wonder anymore. It's got no wonder. There's no reason to go out because everything's just laid down on your minimap. And if you say to yourself, well, but if they took it out, people are just going to use add-ons. Ban the add-ons. Ban the add-ons. If you truly don't want people to if you truly want people to have an element of discovery in your game, ban them. It's your game. You make the rules. Ban them. Final Fantasy XIV, they don't allow add-ons at all. Yeah, some people sneak in dick meters and things like that, and for the most part, they'll kind of let them get away with it. But if they're reported, then, they could actually get themselves into trouble. But in Final Fantasy XIV, no, they want the game to be a specific way. They want certain elements to exist. They don't really want dick meters in the game because they're more concerned with you working as a team. What a novel concept. They're as working as a team as opposed to being more concerned about who's got the biggest damage, etc. They just want people to work together to achieve the goal. They want to get people to understand and learn the mechanics so you can all do the mechanics. And then when you get to the DPS phase, do your DPS phase, etc. So that's why they don't do things like that. So the outside world in BFA is just such a boring affair. Island expeditions, all these wonderful little islands, which I personally would just love to go around and explore. and find out what secrets they may hold. But they don't hold any secrets because they're just a bunch of islands where you do the same thing on every single one. 3, 2, 1, collect Azerite. And it's a race. And so they just feel all like a waste of time. Every single one is the same. The island looks different. It's the same. So there's nothing to distinguish Island 3 from Island 4 or 6 or 1 or 2 or 8. There's nothing which distinguishes island expeditions. So they're crap. And Warfronts, well, I've never done, I don't think I've ever done a piece of content in WoW that is just so mind-numbing. And this is a game that has LFR in it, for goodness sake. I don't think I've done anything in a game in WoW that is so boring than Warfronts. So, you know, it's just a terrible affair. Legion was a mixed bag. I think there was some good stuff in Legion, and I thought there was some bad stuff in Legion. Good stuff, instance-based content. The Mythic Plus certainly gave Dungeons a new lease of life. Now that's an esport, because that's all Blizzard care about, esports. Raiding, for the most part, was very good. I enjoyed the raiding, and I actually got involved in some raiding in Legion. I did enjoy that when I came back. The Mage Towers was great. I thought the Mage Tower was a wonderful single-player, challenging piece of content, you know, and more skillful players would do it earlier. And it would give the opportunity to people to accrue more gear and then obviously make the experience easier. So I thought the Mage Tower was a decent addition to the game. I don't want them to kind of like just repeat that. You know, I'd like to see something akin to that level of creativity. I thought the Chromie storyline, I thought the Chromie event was, again, another instance-based thing, using some old world content. I thought that was really good fun. I thought that brought a little bit of joy and interest to the expansion. But the main story was awful, I thought, in Legion. It was just, the Legion didn't do anything. The Suramar story was very good, but World Quests got really old, and the outside world, again, was just awful. For the most part, just awful. Suramar was a ray of light in what was a mixed bag in Legion. And then Warlords of Draenor, it's hard to distinguish the two, was just hot garbage. Pretty much after, you know, a few weeks of 6.0, it was just hot garbage. So for the last 3 expansions, 2 of them have been pretty much garbage, and one of them has been a mixed bag. And that's your last 3 expansions. That's your last 5 years of content. So when you put it all together, do I think that the teams who's working on the game now are doing a good job? No, absolutely not. And we've seen an absolute cascade of subscribers. Warlords of Draenor kicked off with 10 million subscribers. What's the subscriber levels now? Well, you know, we're kind of guessing around 2.5 to 3.5, based off logins, etc. And that actually might be generous. So there's been such a drop-off, and it's easy for them to turn around and go, well, it's a naturally expected drop-off. It's a naturally expected drop-off in the World of Warcraft. Well, it wasn't naturally expected all the way through to Cataclysm. You know, you didn't see the developers in Wrath of the Lich King saying, well, we're actually going to expect a drop-off when we do our next content drop. Why? No, it was a grow and a grow and a grow and a grow and a grow. And then when Cataclysm came, you know, that's when we're seeing the down and the down and the down and the down and the down. And, you know, there could be, you know, there is something maybe in the downturn of WoW, but when you start turning people off to your product, then you're giving them an excuse to leave. And I think there's been a lot of excuses to leave World of Warcraft in the previous 3 expansions. And then when you look at the competition surrounding it, I think that the teams who are working on the Elder Scrolls Online have been doing some excellent work. They have really made the world such a fun place to explore. I don't think there's any MMO RPG out there that is as good as the Elder Scrolls Online in making fun in the outside world, making it an enjoyable experience to explore and discover. They've absolutely hit the nail on the head. Final Fantasy XIV has great segments of content. Some people will like them, some people won't. They try different things all the time, and yet they still have the mainstays like the dungeons and the raids and the alliance raids where you get 3 teams of 8 people together and stuff. They still have the mainstays. So even if their attempt at putting something different into the game isn't quite working for you, chances are you've got plenty to get on with. And they also put such a huge emphasis on you don't have to always be fighting. You know, they have such an in-depth crafting system, which is just mind-blowingly good. Mind-blowingly good, which is a great way for you to craft amazing gear for yourself, amazing glamour for yourself, make money for yourself. And it involves a lot of time and effort to put in to get to the top. But when you get to the top, my God, you can create some awesome stuff, as well as furniture for your houses, because, of course, both of these games have a housing structure, which WoW doesn't have. WoW doesn't have player housing. It doesn't have anything to distract you from the crap which is currently in the game. So when I say, you know, yeah, I think Ian and the decision makers should go. Yeah, I don't think they're steering the ship in the right direction. Do I mean all the programmers get fired? No. Do I mean that all the art department get fired? No. 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 Complete and utterly out of context. And purposely so. If you want to support game devs, do it before they lose their jobs, he says. Let me just... I can't scooch that. Let me just vanish me for a sec so you can see. Doink. If you want to support game devs, do it before they lose their jobs. Again, such a loaded statement. Such a loaded statement. No, you support them if they're doing a good job. Or you support them if it's not their fault. That's when you can support them. But when it comes to the World of Warcraft, there's very particular blame in my eyes. And it's the very particular blame goes with the decision-making process. And so if the decision-makers in my eyes aren't making the right decisions, yeah, call for the heads, call for change, call for somebody who has ideas, call for people who really want to do something different. But on top of that, particularly with Activision, you know, you have a company that, of course, announced in a historic year and then sacked 8% of the workforce, 9% of the workforce. So when it comes to people at EA losing their jobs, you just have to look at the roles. You know, these aren't developers that are losing their jobs for the most part. Certainly for the most part, you know, it's people that are working in different departments, marketing, operations, da-da-da-da-da. It's not the developers that are actually under threat. Even at Activision, it wasn't the developers that are under threat either when it came to the job losses. No, it was people, again, in other roles. And you want to talk about supporting your communities and you want to talk about building relationships between the companies and the gamers, then you just have to look at people like Yitheson's getting sacked. Probably the biggest link that the WoW community had to the development team. I don't think that's building relationships. I think that's actually severing relationships. And then you have obnoxious people like Law, who put loaded statements like this, which are purposely loaded. You want to support a company that's doing good work. But when a company isn't doing good work, when a company is failing miserably, when a company is being divisive, passive-aggressive, and purposely antagonizing their audience, there's no harm in calling for change. Absolutely none whatsoever. In actual fact, change is probably a good thing, because when diseases like this get themselves embedded into products, it's never going to change. It's never, ever going to change. And I don't think World of Warcraft is going to get better. I think what we're seeing now is essentially what it's going to be like going forward. And that is why we have things like Classic coming along. Because Classic is now, look, for all the whingers who actually want a game where you work towards something, where you actually had to cooperate, where things were tough, where mobs could actually hurt you, where there was actually a threat in the outside world, where there was actually a threat in general. Well, that's Classic for you. This product that we're working on, this is the meh. This is for the WA brigade that just want everything right now. This is for the people who don't want to think. This is for the people that want everything handed to them on a platter. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, ridiculous tweet, completely loaded, completely out of context, pandering for sympathy, pandering to the sycophant brigade, and he knows it. He absolutely knows it. But there you go. This is World of Warcraft Community 101 now. You know, don't only listen to the people who say you're doing good things. That's it. Don't listen to anything else. Just listen to the echo chamber. Just listen to all, you know, the amount of stories I've got had from people working at Blizzard about how they say how separated the development team is from others. How they just basically lock themselves away on their levels. Yeah. So, yeah, well done, Law. You know, shout to the echo chamber. I'm sure the echo chamber will tell you exactly what you want to hear back. But context matters and good work matters. And if you're not producing good work, you deserve to go. And I don't think World of Warcraft is producing good work. And I'd love nothing more than to see change in the decision-making roles. Because I think the decisions which are being made right now are piss poor. So there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links are in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.